Welcome to Monday, November 9th, 2020. Pretty active weather pattern coming our way. It's going to be colder, a lot more seasonable. Basically, folks, what we have coming over the next 7 to 10 days is very typical for the middle of November. It's going to be colder. There's going to be occasional snow opportunities. And boy, this is going to be really true in the high country. The high country is going to get its first really good solid layer of snowpack built up all of the Intermountain West. I mean, I'm talking Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, all the way down into Arizona, New Mexico, even the Sierra, California, and into the Cascades of the Pacific Northwest, on the Bitterroot of portions of Idaho's mountains. Everybody is going to get into the Snow Act over the next 7 to 10 days. It's a perfect pattern for it. Now, the pattern stays active all week and into the weekend. We're not anticipating any major storm on the plains, but we do expect occasionally light snow to fall at times in some areas, making roads and highways occasionally slick, but the more consistent winter weather will be up in the mountains. This is where we are today with a jet stream pattern. Here's the wave that came through over the weekend. Here's the next wave. The low here is going to cut across the region here later today and tonight. Here's another one back up here, and here's another one up here. And you can see with high pressure in the eastern Pacific, the jet stream will come in from the northwest. Northwest flow, we call it, a very, very good pattern to make it snow in the mountains. And as we go forward, this is by Wednesday. We still see the high gets flattened out a bit, but look at this. Here's another good wave coming in from up here. Here's the next system diving in, and it comes on through. Notice we're not digging a big, deep trough into the four corners, but rather we're having these smaller waves cycle through, bringing surges of colder weather to the plains. And these systems, these little ripples, these little kinks that you see coming through are what will be very productive snowmakers in the high country. This is by Saturday. We've got another wave coming on in, strong northwest winds aloft, driving that Pacific moisture into the mountains. I'll say it again. I know you're tired of me saying it, but this is a classic La Nina setup. You get these strong, moist Pacific jet stream winds, and the mountains of the northern Rockies and the Pacific Northwest can get into some very snowy periods during certain phases of La Nina, and we're about ready to see that. Now, there is a break. Now, this is by Saturday, so throughout this week, these waves will be coming through. By early next week, notice we have a broad ridge briefly here. So as we get into late this weekend and early next week, high pressure will build over the Intermountain West briefly, but you can see we've got another low up here in the Gulf of Alaska, dragging in a Pacific cold front, and some high pressure trying to build in behind it. So what'll happen is, after we get a break in the weather early next week, by the weekend of the 21st, well, here we've got another good front coming in, another wave poised to come in behind it. So what we'll see here for the rest of the month of November is more often than not, a more active pattern than we had in late October and early November, and it's going to be a good pattern for the snowpack. Not necessarily a big producer of snow on the plains, however, but it's going to stay a lot more busy than it's been. Precipitation-wise, look at all of this. This is over 10 days. Look at all the orange and the red colors and the yellow colors over the mountains of Colorado, Wyoming, all of the major mountain ranges throughout the Intermountain West and the Pacific Northwest, just going to get frequent periods of snow. Not just one big storm, just lots of light to moderate systems over the next 10 days. It just will add up over time. So we're going to see a nice boost in the snowpack in this whole region. And if you're a snowmobiler, you're a skier, this is exactly what you want to see heading into the middle of November. And if we translate that to snow, look at this in the mountains of Idaho. Wow. That is some pretty good snow coming. Again, this is a classic La Nina setup to get that building snowpack going early in the season in the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies. But as we mentioned in the earlier parts of this podcast, yes, there's going to be some snow on the plains, but nothing that's going to be large. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Have yourself a good Monday. We'll talk to you on Tuesday.